What's up, everybody? It's your boy Melvin here for another classic review, and today I'm reviewing the 2005 film Tim Burton's The Corpse Bride. But before we begin, did you subscribe? Did you hit the bell? If so, what are you waiting for? Let's go. The movie takes place in the Victorian era. We don't know where, some European town, and we get to meet two families: the Evergotts and the Van Dorts. We get to meet the Van Dorts, which were including their son, Victor Van Dort, who is the groom to be, in an arranged marriage with the Evergott's daughter, Victoria, for one reason, money, because the Evergotts are broke as fuck, and also, they want to keep their high status. As for Victor's mother, she wants to receive the high status as well. That's her bargain chip. We also see the town, which is a lot of grayish in the area, including we also meet some strange characters, which they'll be more relevant. They arrive at the manor of the Evergods, which is kind of weird since they live across, literally, they live in the same plaza. They just took a carriage and just go around the plaza, that's it. Soon, they meet each other. We also meet the Evergods, which, like I said before, they're like the two ugliest people you ever seen. Right there. And also, we get to meet their daughter, Victoria. Still curious about why she's getting married to somebody she hasn't met. Back at the main entrance, we get the Van Dorts are welcome, well, sort of, into the manor. Both of the families enter the drawing room to have some tea, while Victor playing the piano, which catches the attention of Victoria. They started both getting to know each other. Then we cut to the rehearsal, which, oh boy, like the 10th time that Victor screwed up. Then we meet Lord Barkis, a ambitious lord, which the Evergods kind of liked. But the rehearsal went bad. And during the night, Victor is talking to himself about what just happened, thinking himself an idiot, and he believes nothing can get worse. Oh yeah, it got worse when the town crier mentions the botched rehearsal, which yeah. He walked into the woods and into a graveyard where he started to get the confidence when he was holding a flower that Victoria gave him of reviewing his wedding vows and pretending some of the trees to be his in-laws, like complimenting the beauty of Mrs. Evergott and Mr. Evergott, and also asking Victor to call Mr. Evergott Dad. Then, out of nowhere, he just placed the wedding ring on a branch that looks like a hand. Soon, Victor noticed a bunch of crows around, like just staring at him. That's when the branch starts to twitch, and oh boom, it just grabbed his hand. Ho ho! As he struggles to pull off the branch, and guess what it was? a dead woman's arm. As she breaks out of the ground, lo and behold, rises a dead woman, a bride, lifts her veil and says, "I do." Victor, frightened and scared, he runs off, head for the bridge. When he turns around, she ain't there. When he turns back, she's right there. Frightened as he is, she goes closer and closer until she says, "You may kiss the bride." And everything cuts black. We get to see Victor now in the land of the dead. We see a lot of characters, including skeletons, zombies, dead people, you know. Congratulating him on his marriage, the newlyweds, which Victor's still confused. He demands answers on who is she, where is he. That's when she says it's a long story where we meet the singer, Bon Jangles, telling him the story of the corpse bride, which she was once a beautiful woman from the living world fell in love with a rich man until one night she was waiting in the oak tree where Victor saw her, and she was murdered and robbed for all the jewels that she brought. She made a vow laying under that tree that her true love will set her free, which is Victor, I think. After that, Victor freaked out and leaves. During the other time, back at the Evergreen Mansion, they're all wondering where's Victor. That's when Lord Barkis arrives with the town crier explaining that Victor has been whipped away by another woman, which surprises the Evergots. One of them, Lord Evergod, wants to get his musket to shoot, which Mr. Van Dort stops and explains they need more time, which they give him an hour to find Victor. Back at the land of the dead, Victor trying to find a get out of there. He manages to climb up somewhere. That's when he encounters Emily, telling him to use the stairs. Silly. After that, she gives him a wedding present, and guess who it is? His pet dog, Scraps. Well, now a skeleton. He was excited to see his dog again, and also to do a trick. Play dead. Wow. That he's already dead. Well, you to play alive. Soon, he tells Emily that he wants to go back home, which she tells them this is his home now until he wants her to meet his parents, which she thought they were dead. Actually, they're alive. So they meet the town elder, who was voiced by Michael Gall. It's kind of where you meet like a lot of interesting cast members, like Christopher Lee voicing the pastor. We got Johnny Depp, Helen Bonham Carter as the Court's Bride, and a lot more. And Richard Grant as Lord Barkis. But yeah, let's continue. After that, they meet the elder, explain that they want to go up in the land of the living, which he does, using a chicken egg as a way to go up in the land of the living, and the only way to return back to the land of the dead is by saying the words hopscotch. Which they manage to go to the land of the living, back where they're from, the cemetery. Victor tells Emily to stay here and wait while he gets his parents, which is a lie. He wants to see Victoria. He manages to reach at the manor, which he sees overhears the Evergots. If they ever see him, they'll shoot him. Victor manages to sneak up, climb up a window where Victoria is. She sees him, lets him in. She was glad to see him again. They embrace each other back in the woods. Emily's still curious on where's Victor. A maggot that looks like Peter Lorre tells her to follow him, which, due to the snow, leaves some footprints. Back at the manor, Victor tells her that he still loves her. As they're about to kiss, guess who's right there? Emily. Climbing up the balcony. As Victor tries to explain, Emily bursts in. Which, yeah. By Emily's surprise and Victoria's surprise, now we get the two meet each other, which, yeah. It's quite surprising, isn't it? And then continue. As they get shot by the surprise, that's when Emily gets pissed off and says the words hopscotch, grabs Victor, and the most dramatic exit ever. You see Emily with a pissed off face dragging Victor like she's dragging him to hell. And Victor crying for Victoria to help him, which we see a whole flock of crows blocking the whole thing. And they're back in the land of the dead. Emily pissed off at Victor, saying he's meeting another woman, which Victor says, "You're the other one because I was supposed to marry her, not you," which upsets her. Back in the land of living, Victoria trying to explain to her parents what's been going on, but they think she went mad and lock her room. Victoria managed to escape and head for the pasture to explain the whole thing, which didn't work either. They think she went nuts as well. That's when Lord Barkis, still around, requests that he marry Victoria, which they agree. As for the Van Dorts, still looking for their son, they hear the town crier saying that Victor married a court's bride, while also Victoria is now marrying Lord Barkis, which surprises Mrs. Van Dort. Meanwhile, Mayhew dies from an asthma attack, leaving them lost and never seen again. Back at the land of the dead. Sorry, I keep pausing every time. Back in the land of the dead, Victor finds Emily playing the piano, still upset with him. That's when Victor started playing the piano, which caught Emily's attention. They both play a piano duet and start to be happy until the bell rang, as in a new arrival has arrived. And guess who it is? Mayhew. Victor, happy to see Mayhew again. Mayhew tells Victor that Victoria is now being married by a lord, which upsets Victor until because the family doesn't want to waste the wedding cake. Damn. Victor upset, he leaves. Back at the land of the living, Victoria trying to break through the door, which, yeah. That didn't work, and yeah. We get to see Victoria shocked that she's now be forced to marry Lord Barkis. Then we see the wedding of her still with a shocked face and Lord Barkis saying his wedding vows to her. And now sad face. Now she's stuck with him. Now knowing that Victor is lost forever. Back at the land of the dead, Emily talking to the head chef. That's when the elder arrived, explaining that there's a problem in their marriage because she's dead and she's already past dead. That means she can't marry Victor. Unless Victor gives up his life by drinking poison. Yeah. You'll wait, she'll be truly free. Victor agrees, and under one condition, to never return the life that he had above, which he agrees. And also, the ceremony has to be taking place again, this time in the land of above. A massive wedding starts to begin in the land of dead, and then we cut off to I'd say the most boring wedding party ever, of Lord Barkis chatting over and over again. That's when the fireplace starts to dim down until it went green. Which I kind of like the style when the fire went from gray to green right there. Neon green. Soon everybody sees the dead people coming out everywhere. And finally, that's when Bojangles climbs up, sneaks behind Lord Evergott, and guess what happens? His eye falls out and falls in the soup, which Evergott notices and says, "There's an eye in me soup." Which everybody starts to freak out. Everybody. Even Lord Barkis chickens out and sneaks and climbs under the table. And guess what he finds? 2 dead children giggling at him. Soon, the Evergott started to fight over who invited these guys and that. Even Lord Evergott mentions, if my father sees it, he'll be twisting, turning in his grave. Which, surprise, Daddy's home. Now a skeleton, asking his son, where did he keep the spirits? Sending him and his wife, screaming into the hallway. Back in the town, everybody started popping out, which the town crier says, in other news, but Dad walks the earth. Yeah. They start freaking out until a boy recognizes that one of the dead people is actually his grandpa, which changes the mood that turns out the dead people are also their lost loved ones. Back at the manor, Lord Barkis climbs out under the table and tells Victoria to grab anything they can, any wealthy money, jewels. That's when Victoria knows something and asks him what money. And he said the money that he's right, his fortune, until she mentions that it's his wealth that saves her parents from the poor, which pisses him off. And tells her if she's lying. And she says, I am not lying, and enjoy the poor life. Which pisses him off. She walks out and knows everybody, both the living and the dead, embracing. And they're heading for the church, which she knows a giant cake heading for there. The pastor tells the dead to go back where they came, which they told them to keep it down. They're in the church. Not just funny. Then began the wedding ceremony of Victor and Emily. After that, Victoria knows Victor, and she sneaks in, surprised to see Victor there, but also knew. That's when Emily sees Victoria right there hiding, seeing the whole thing. As Victor is about to drink the poison, Emily stops him and tells him that this ain't right. She's stealing something from somebody else, which she presents Victoria right there hiding. As she presents Victoria's hand in marriage to Victor, that's when Lord Barkis shows up. Pretend to be, I'm so joyful at weddings. That's when he grabs Victoria and tells him that Victoria is still his wife. That is when Emily recognizes him. And Lord Barkis recognizes Emily. Tell him that he left her for dead. That's when it starts to piss off everybody. That's when Lord Barkis knows the little Napoleon sword, pulls it out, and threatens to kill her. That's when Victor tells him to let her go, which threatens him to kill him. Then Scrat bites Lord Barkis' leg, which begins a fight. Which the chef gives him it's not like a knife. It's like the one used for barbecues. That Victor has to fight with. As the fight continues, Lord Barkis is about to kill Victor until Emily steps in and Barkis stabs her. She pulls the sword out of her rib cage and points the sword at Barkis, which Lord Barkis says, "Touché, my dear." He grabs the cup, which has the poison, which the other dead people want to fight, but they had to obey the law of nature, as in the dead cannot interfere with the living. As Lord Barkis starts to reminisce that to Emily, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Tell me, does your heart still beat? Does your heart still break once it stopped beating? That's when he drinks the poison, throws the cup as like he's a boss, but no. He actually drank the poison, which kills him. You can see his skin color turns blue, which the magazine says, not anymore. And then when the other said, well, he's all yours. That's when everybody is about to pounce him. The chef, that's when he tried to run for his life, stuck. That's when they open the door for him. They all go in. And the chef says, new arrival. In a most evil way. That's payback for what he did to Emily. The elder closes the bottle. That's when Victoria embraces until he sees Emily. He said he had a promise to keep, which Emily says he did keep his promise. And now she is free. She walks down the aisle, gazing on the moonlight. She throws her bouquet of flowers at an old lady, and guess who she's looking at? The maggot. Which the flower lands on Emily, on Victoria's arms, which both of them sees Emily turn into butterflies into the moonlight. And that was Court's Bride. And tell you the truth, this was a good movie because I like how the story is. You tell like there's a love between the boundaries of life and death. Including the story about, including the music as well. My favorite song was the Tale of the Corpse Bride, the piano duet, including the wedding theme of the undead.
Oh,
This movie became a hit. It won like 100.1 million dollars in the box office. And this was released at the same time as Tim Burton's other film, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which is kind of confusing because you have the same voice actors also in the movie, like Willy Wonka, like Johnny Depp's voicing not just Victor Van Dort, but also playing as Willy Wonka. You have Christopher Lee playing as Wilbur Wonka and also voicing the pasture. And you also have Helena Bonham Carter as Charlie's mother and also voicing Emily. Ain't that confusing? But hey, to me, The Corpse Bride has always be a good classic for Halloween and also a great storytelling. But let me know what you think of The Corpse Bride. Did you like it? What was your favorite scene? Who was your favorite character? What was your favorite song? And if you've seen it when it first came out in 2005, let me know what you think. But until then, see you next time. Have a great day, everybody. And also, peace.